And now we're looking to have an end hook. Just like the top of your essay, just like the intro, you have a hook and the thesis. Now we have the restatement of the thesis and a hook, but I call it an end hook, okay? Because you're ending. So just like you want to grab people's attention at the beginning of your paper with a hook in the intro, in the conclusion, you want to leave them with something to remember as they put your paper down, right? As they finish reading your paper, you want to keep them thinking about that topic and what you just said. And there's a few ways that you can do that. Here are some example end hooks, okay? Here they are. So you can make a reference to an opening quotation that you use in the hook. So let's imagine you used a quote in your hook of your essay. Now in the end hook, you can refer back to that quote, okay? Now, if you watch my video on end hooks, you'll see these examples. I'm assuming you've seen it, okay? So I'm gonna refer back to the quotes I used. So here's an example of referring back to the opening quote. Bob Harper's reference to exercise as medicine is an accurate comparison. I will take my prescription and use it regularly in doses that work for my lifestyle. So here I'm referring back to the quote I used in the intro, and it's helping me to write my end hook, and it's bringing everything together. I could also, instead of making an end hook as a quote, I could just make a prediction or a recommendation. And so based off the evidence in the essay. So for example, health is something we are all concerned about. And if you're looking for a way to hone in on yours, I recommend running 3 times a week. Here's my recommendation. Based off of what I just said in the essay, run 3 times a week. Another way you can end your paper with an end hook is by referring back to a story or an anecdote that you used in the hook. You could finish the story or you can refer back to the story. So I used in my intro, in my hook example video, I discussed all of these examples, and here is a reference back to the story one. Last night I stayed up until 8:30 and quickly felt the weight of my eyes closing. I reflected on how I used to stay up staring at the dark walls in my room until the late hours of the morning, and it made me smile as I set my alarm for the next morning's run. So here I'm referring back to a story I used in my hook about how I couldn't sleep, and now I'm ending that story and saying, now I can sleep. Another way you can end your paper with an end hook is with a final rhetorical question. So you don't have to start your intro hook with a rhetorical question to end with one. It's up to you, but here's one you can use. Now that I have reminded myself of all the benefits of running, with determination and willpower, how can I possibly stop doing this activity? There's my question. Remember, rhetorical questions you don't actually have to answer. They're supposed to make you think. Now, here's another way you can end your essay is with a continuation of the original description of a scene or a person from your hook. So I described in my hook video, I described a scene of me being chased by cows and how I ran away from them. So here I can finish that scene and finish that description. After climbing to the top of the metal, wobbly chain link fence in the cow pasture, I made a great sigh of relief as I looked down upon the angry animals. At that moment, I made a promise to myself to keep running, and that is what I will do because in many ways, it has saved my life. So here you can see, yeah, it's kind of like a story, and I am referring back to a story, but it's also very descriptive because I'm using a lot of adjectives. You can see and smell the things that I'm describing. Finally, another great way to end your paper is to use a call to action. That is to motivate people to do something that you want them to do. So here's an example. Perhaps you also have some goals for your health. If not, I urge you to sit down and make some today. You will feel better about yourself when you have reached your chosen objectives, and I am especially hopeful that you will find this is true if you choose to run. So here I'm urging you to run. I'm urging you to make some health goals. So these are just some ways you can end your essay with an end hook. There are more ways. These are ways that I think are really great, really useful. Okay, everyone, I hope that video was helpful. Bye-bye.